Hey, welcome back to Synthwave Dojo. In today's video, we're diving into some sneaky hi-hat secrets every synthwave producer needs to know. I'm going to show you how to use stereo effects to take your hi-hats from flat and boring to wide, dynamic, and pro level. Let's dive in. Trick number 1, the Haas effect, or as I like to call it, the poor man's stereo. The Haas effect is an acoustic trick to make sounds feel wider and more spacious in a mix. Here's how it works. When you hear the same sound in both ears, but one ear hears it just a tiny bit later, like a few milliseconds, your brain interprets that as width or space instead of hearing it as two separate sounds. It's like a little audio illusion. To set it up, we'll need a stereo delay, and just set the delay time to 25 milliseconds, the feedback to 0%, the dry signal pan it to one side, and the wet signal pan it to the other side. First, let me play you the drums and bass loop that we will be using throughout the video. For this example, I'll be using Replica XT by Native Instruments, but any stereo delay plugin you have will offer similar features. Before I start playing and applying the delay plugin, let me set up some of the parameters. Feedback, let's bring it to 0. The mix to 50%. Let's unsync or set the timing to be milliseconds. Let's set this to 25 milliseconds or thereabouts. Let's play it right now and see where we are. It's activated. Cool. The final step is to make sure that the dry and the wet signal are panned to opposite sides of the spectrum, like so. The dry, the wet, and let's play with the output level. Great, so without it, it's down in the middle. It sounds good, it sounds okay, but in stereo, much more interesting. You can experiment with the timing. If you go over 30, 35, it sounds like two very distinct repeats, which you don't want that. And below 20, you might not hear it at all, or it might sound phasey. So just set it between 20 to 30, tweak it by ear. Trick number 2, stereo delay. For this one, we'll just use any stereo delay you have available and experiment with repeats synced to the tempo of our track. Be sure to experiment with different modes, such as dual or ping-pong delays. For our second example, I'm also going to be using Replica XT by Native Instruments. Feel free to follow along on any other stereo delay you have available. For this one, we're going to use sync repeats or tempo-based repeats. So let me play with this. Let me get the groove going. Right out of the gate, these settings work very well for me, but let me just cover what we have. So feedback between 25 to 30% will work well. The mix, we don't want it to be close to 50% like the other example, because it might be too overwhelming, but it's up to you. Possibly just a little bit lower, like 25% will work. And in terms of the tempo sync, dotted notes, like in 8th note dotted values, will work very well. Also, you could try straight values, but 16th notes. It sounds very close to dotted 8s, but just the hi-hat opening sounds different. Pay attention to whoosh, to the wash. Cool. Let me set it back to dotted. Listen to the wash of the hi-hats. It sounds nice, right? So like the main rhythm sounds the same. The wash of the cymbals when it opens and closes sounds great. Excellent. Trick number 3, chorus, flanger, or phaser. For this one, we can use any chorus, flanger, or phaser we have available, We can use it in a very subtle fashion or be wild and obvious. It's up to you. For our third and final example, we'll be using Tal Chorus, which is free, and it's a great chorus plugin modeled after the Juno 60 synth chorus, which is legendary. So let's fire this up and dial in some nice sounds. Okay, let's try increasing the wet dry control. You can hear it sounds very chorused or phasey. You can play with the width. Right there, I think it sounds fine. Let's use mode number 2. Sounds good. Now, without the chorus, very much in the center, kind of boring. With the chorus, we get some width, much more interest, that cool, chorusy, phasey sound. Here I just showed you this technique with chorus, but if you were to fire up a flanger or a phaser, you can also experiment with that because you can get way more crazy sounds, and it depends on what you're going for. You can be very subtle or be very wild. It's up to you. All right, that's it for today's video. If you're ready to level up your synthwave productions, grab my free guide, Dreamwave Made Simple. It's packed with tips to help you create dreamy tracks without overcomplicating the process. Hit the link in the description to download it now, and I'll see you in the next one.